name is William Stewart, and current title is retired. I was born in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I attended through the 6th grade one of the most excellent school systems that exist. Got a really good basic education. I moved to Geneva on the Lake, Ohio for my high school, which was a rural county school, and I didn't get much of an education there, only when I forced myself to study. And then I decided I was going to go to Case Institute of Technology and be a chemical engineer. And when they looked at my school record, they recommended that I come in and take a summer course, particularly the mathematics. And I passed that course by the skin of my teeth. And they recommended that I go to summer school, which I did, and it wasn't very promising. But what they recommended was they had a 3-2 program where you went to an undergraduate school for 3 years and then came back to the technical school for 2. So that's how I ended up at Miami University in Oxford, Ohio. And I learned very quickly that I hated chemistry. It was all memorization and I didn't enjoy it. So that I became a physicist. I graduated from Miami with a degree in nuclear physics and went to the University of Pittsburgh, where I earned my master's degree. I got married right towards the end of my master's degree and was recruited by NASA to work at their Lewis Research Center in Cleveland, Ohio. They had a 60-inch cyclotron and they didn't have any cyclotron physicists. So having been at the University of Pittsburgh and done some cyclotron work, they made me an offer I couldn't refuse. It just seemed like an interesting field. You know, I liked the fact that it worked on big equipment and had fun doing the research. I worked in a research team of 3, and we published about 5 papers. The big break was probably getting hired by NASA to work on their cyclotron. It was a golden opportunity. They had the cyclotron and they didn't have anybody that wanted to work on it. So there was 3 of us that came in at the same time. Norton and I came from the University of Pittsburgh, and Regis came from Carnegie Tech. It's Carnegie Mellon University now. I became familiar with the Taguchi method, Dr. Taguchi out of Japan, of reducing the variability in a manufacturing process. And I applied that at many places, and finally, after retirement, formed my own company and continued to apply to reduce the variability in manufacturing processes. My crowning achievement was the satisfaction I got out of helping manufacturing processes reduce the scrap. Traveling overseas to forge suppliers and applying it and getting to see the world while I was doing it. Well, my wife was a great one. She inspired me to do everything the right way rather than the way I used to do it. And both my parents were that way too. I can remember my mother making me sit at the dining room table and practice my spelling so that I could pass my spelling test every week. Just the early part of my life with them was a major doing it right. My dad was a contractor, and a lot of times he'd make me tear something out that I had finished because it didn't meet his standards. And so I got to the point where I tried to do everything the best I could. My published works on nuclear physics and my achievements in the Ford Motor Company. I personally have 3 patents that belong to Ford. And we set up we realized that the cars that we ran on durability came off as literally junk. but we'd run a Japanese model and it would come off. You could sell the darn thing. So what we finally realized was that each division manager's bonus was based on his cost of warranty. So they were designing their subsystem in such a way that it didn't compromise. It literally tore the other subsystems up. So we wrote a set of design standards, and I went around the world and worked with them. Ford of Canada was very helpful. Ford of Japan laughed, they already had it. Jaguar was a disaster, and Volvo was not very cooperative at all. But we did get the design standards in place, excuse me, and it made a big difference in the quality of the Ford product. If there was one piece of personal advice I would give, is do the best job you know how to do and follow through with it. I've enjoyed all the works I've done in several fields and the satisfaction of seeing improvements in the end result. If I had to summarize my life's work, it would be the enjoyment I've got out of improving manufacturing processes and improving the Ford motor, the Ford car. I would like to be remembered as a person that applied my physical knowledge to solving problems.